This is the 6:45 pension meeting for the town of Plainfield, May 9th, 6:45. The town hall would like to do a roll call if you could.
Art Gagnon. Scott Gardner.
Kevin Cunningham. I know one member said that they would not make it because they have food poisoning, and the other one hopefully can show up for the next couple of minutes. But this time we'll just continue on. We do have a quorum. Item C, which is to approve the minutes of the pension meeting dated April 11th, 2022.
Make a motion to approve the meeting minutes for April 11th, 2022. Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. All right, on to new business. We are to consider an act on pension distributions as requested, and we have two in front of us. We have been speaking about possibility of retirements for the Plainfield Police, and we have two in front of us today. The first one is for Jerry Geyer, police sergeant, and he has been in since, let's see, prior to July 2004, he had 3 years, 10 months, and after the July 2004, he came back to the force at 17 years and 11 months. As you see in your paperwork, he would like to be starting his pension as of commencement for July 1st of 2022. He would be eligible for a monthly pension of $3,440.60.
Make a motion to approve the pension for Jerry Geyer at the amount of $3,440.60 per month, started commencing on July 1st, 2022.
Do we hear a second?
I'll second.
I will say that I do wish Jerry well and do appreciate all the time that he has served in the town of Plainfield. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The second one is another officer. We have Todd Shaw, and he would also like to commence his pension starting July 1st, 2022. Let's see, we have total years of employment at 24 and a third year, and he would like his monthly pension to start on July 1st, totaling $33,781.21.
I'll make a motion to approve $3,781.21 per month starting July 1st, 2022.
Okay.
Todd Shaw. I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second, and I will echo the same comments and I'll thank Todd for all those years of service and wish him well. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. That was our pension request. We do have some more coming for the next month once we get the paperwork in, but we have a few more. I entertain a motion at this time to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Board of Selectmen meeting to order from May 9th, and ask if you would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and roll call.
Art Gagnon. Scott Gardner.
Kevin Cunningham. Item C, to approve meeting minutes from Board of Selectmen meeting 4/25/22.
Make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from 4/11/22. Second that.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Item D, public comment. Hearing none, there is no old business. Item F, I would ask to add 2 items to the agenda before we move on. Item number 3, to discuss and act on appointment of assistant building official.
Motion to add item 3 on. Second.
All in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. And then item 4, discuss and act on approval of ARPA funds for purchase of highway equipment.
Make a motion to add item 4 to the agenda. Second.
Thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. So back to item number 1, consider and act on a letter of resignation of an Ethics Commission member, and that is actually the chairperson. So under new business item 1, if you all see on May 2nd, we received a letter from Thomas Schwartz. And this is the, with regret that we do receive an occasional letter like this, but we understand he has other things more pressing at this time. So entertain a motion to accept the letter of resignation.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And again,
I have a question about this.
sure.
Are we going to reach out to Mr. Sugarman because he did send a letter of interest?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Item number 2, consider and act on going into contract with Permalink. You have in front of in your book, you have a packet that puts together information about Permit Link services and what they do. I thought, because I don't know as much about it as someone else, I would ask one of the staff members who was there and attended the presentation and demonstration of what it can do for the town. It does work well for other towns. We saw a demo here, was it a week ago? 2 weeks now. So at the end of the presentation or discussion of it, we were looking to get your approval to go into a 1-year contract. Now the contract, as you see on page 7, talks about the Permit Link user license of 100 permits in the system. It's $10 per permit, and then it's cloud hosted, of course. They have their own support system and upgrades, and they can handle about 400 permits annually. You'll see on page 8, where if you so desire to move forward, this will help offset that fee cost, so that you'd have to make a motion to accept those increases as stated for the permits for each of those fees. Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we talk first a little bit about what it can do for the town of Plainfield and the residents and those businesses who are taking out permits. So I would ask Ryan Bray, if you wouldn't mind, giving us a little background on it.
Sure. So just to go over what we used to have, we had a very, very basic system that was developed back in the early 2000s. Basically, it was simply a tracking software. It was good for looking up a property and seeing, a house was built in 2005, they added a deck in 2007, but then you'd have to go and pull the actual permits to find all the details. The permitting software has come a long way since then. We no longer have that software, we lost it, so we have to replace it, and things aren't as cheap as they used to be. We looked at a couple different options. Most of them have a startup fee of $30,000 to $40,000, and then an annual fee of $8,000 to $15,000, somewhere in there. Permit Link is on the cheaper side. It's a good software. Other towns in the area have used it. It is $10 a permit, which I estimate will come out to be around $10,000 a year, give or take, depending on how many permits we process. But we typically process somewhere around 1,000 permits a year. With that cost, we're going to be able to get full licensing for everybody that needs it. If we were at lower numbers, we'd have to purchase some license agreements at $1,000 a year, but we should be able to cover all the licenses with the number of permits that we have. So this steps up from what we used to have. This will have online permitting, so people will be able to actually log in from home, apply for permits. We can link it up to our pay software that we currently use with the tax office, so that they can not only apply for permits, but pay for it. They don't ever have to actually come into the office. Every step of the way that we sign off on the permit, they would be able to see it. They get a notification by email saying that it's moved on to this step. They get notes saying we need this from you. And then when it's finally approved, they are sent a notice and they can log in, they can print out the permit, all signed, ready to go. So it's a big help to most of the contractors who have a hard time getting here during the day. It'll also be a help for us because we don't have to take in funds. We don't have to process the permits right there. We can do it when we have time. Another thing it does is it links all the offices together. So typically, our office works with the building inspector office, also sometimes the fire marshal and the assessor's office. So, for example, a house requires the process to start with me for a driveway and a zoning permit. Then it goes to the building inspector, and throughout the process, the assessor has to go out there and make inspections. At the end of it, the building inspector is calling around to say, hey, did you do your final inspection? Did the assessor do their final inspection? Then we have to go to the office and we have to sign off, and then the CO is issued. With this, everything is linked together. So when I sign off on something, everybody else is notified. And so when I give the final, the building inspector already knows it's already in the system. They see it, they get a notification. When the assessor does her final inspection, the building inspector is notified. So the building inspector knows that they can issue the CO. So also fire marshal is brought in for business permits. Fire marshal has to sign off, so they'll be involved. The sewer department will also be part of this. They'll be able to make their comments right in the system. So it's a big upgrade. It's not just a tracking software.
I think when I was watching the presentation, the things that caught my eye were, if you have a person who comes in and says, like, this is what I want to put up, and you put all the permit applications ready to go, then you can actually follow it and trace it all the way through, including the comments from the town of Plainfield or pictures. If the fire marshal is in and says there's an issue here and you take a picture or make notation to it, then the person putting in the permit is looking for, well, I guess I have to fix that item, or can call and do the immediate follow-up. So it's really good interactions that way. Again, they don't have to keep on coming back to the town hall and doing a lot of interactions that way. They can see exactly what the permit says they have to do right in front of them.
Another nice thing is assessors call us on realtors call us on a regular basis. They're selling a house, they want to know what permits are issued. They can go into the system as a public portal, and they'll be able to go in and see all the permits that were issued for that particular piece of property. So they don't have to call us anymore, they can find out on their own.
So I just wanted to clarify something on page 8. It says that there is a 1-year initial cost for $1,000, and then after that, each of the permits that they'll be taking will be $10 per fee. Okay, correct? I think it's the last page. All the way to the bottom.
Optional.
So it's at this point, we are covered under the first part of that, and we don't have to worry about an additional licensing?
I believe because of the number of permits that we get, we don't have to pay that $1,000 per user license.
Okay.
If we were down to around $4,000 a year, because we only process 400 permits, then I believe that we would have to purchase additional licenses. But up around 1,000 permits, 10,000 a year, I think we're going to be covered.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So what we would need to do is, if you perceive this as a good product and you want to work again with all the different departments we have in the town, we would need to entertain a motion to up the permitting fees as listed on that last page. So we would look to entertain an increase of the building permit, $10, electrical permit, $10, plumbing permit, $10, mechanical permit, $10. Sign permit, real question on that one. Signs are basically for...
We issue a zoning permit for signs.
Okay. And then a zoning permit itself. You don't have to do anything for the CO or the inspection forms themselves. What would special permits be, if like an accessory or?
Yeah, well, special permits are for the Planning and Zoning Commission, so there are a lot of things that require special permits.
Then the wetlands permit, subdivision permits, and demo permits. Each ones that were listed that had a dollar value were for $10.
And as was explained, somebody applies for a house, it's a $10 permitting fee. all the permits as part of that house are covered as part of that initial permitting fee. So even though that they need a few different permits, it's covered, the CO is covered, they don't recharge for that.
That was going to be one of my questions. So anybody that applies for a permit is only going to pay an extra $10.
Right, because when somebody pulls a house, they get, it's carte blanche.
Right, so that $10 is just to use this new software?
Yes, so,
Okay.
200 Starkweather Road is building a house. It's a $10 permitting fee for the house start to finish through the building department. It's a $10 fee for the zoning permit start to finish for that house.
But not the building permit fee?
No, this is just for the permitting software.
Okay,
So
got it.
they're collecting a $10.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if they're going through wetlands permit, a zoning permit.
No, the wetlands, if there's a wetlands permit, that'll be another $10 fee.
So it could, so what do you figure is the most it might cost a person?
Well, if
Extra.
somebody has to go through wetlands, planning and zoning commission, and zoning permit, you'll have $30 worth of fees for that one project.
The average, an extra 30.
Yeah, extra 30 on top of,
Commercial, same thing.
yeah.
I don't know the needs, the permits for commercial.
So any commercial project that requires construction, site work, that is at least a site plan review, if not a special permit. If they are within the upland review area, it'd be a wetlands permit as well, and then to finish it off, it'd be a zoning permit.
And that'll be explained to them as they go to put the application in.
So a typical zoning permit right now is $85 for a shed or deck or something, and we bumped up to $90. So the site plan review, typically $260, so we bumped up to $270. A special permit with site plan review is $610, and so the $620. So in the wetlands is either $160 or $260, bumped up $10.
I can see a lot of positives to the application because if a homeowner or a building contractor who's going to be putting up something rather large, whether it's the homeowner or the contractor, they know that someone's actually gone in to take that on the permits because they can go and look themselves.
I had a question on data extraction also, section 6, 4 bullet points down. Client shall pay point fee of $100 for each permit type or form needing data extraction.
That's if we were deciding to go with a different company and we had to extract all the data, so they would charge us to do that.
Okay.
But as long as we're with them, we can print out anything we want, as long as we're within the contract. If we decide to go with somebody else, we have a limited amount of time, I think 180 days to pay for that extraction and get that information.
And that data is capped, the extraction is capped at $1,500.
$1,500 per permit group. So building permits, mechanical permits, it'd be $1,500 max per group, depending how many permits are in the system. Also, this will also store all documents that we have. So we have a set of plans. The set of plans will be in that system. They will be taking care of the data storage. It's uploaded to the cloud each night, backed up each night. It's backed up 3 times, once at their facility and once at 2 off-site locations. One's out west, one of the things in New York. So there's 3 separate areas, so we won't actually lose the data.
And that will save on internal space because you're not keeping paper files anymore in those.
Well, we're still going to have paper files.
But not as many. Yeah.
But we won't be storing it in our system.
Another question was about custom programming. Need to be involved with custom programming this? Because they bill separately for that.
Yeah, custom programming, if we wanted to modify things, we would have to pay for that. But, and they did say that towns do sometimes do that. If towns give them a good idea, they will pass it along if they can. So far, it looks like what they have is going to be good. I'm not expecting us to require any modifications.
Do you know what kind of fees they would charge if they did?
I don't.
Okay.
So it would depend upon the type of programming they have to do to include other things. We did see, was it Vernon or was it, which town did we actually,
Columbia has it, I spoke with Columbia. Woodstock has it. We did not speak to them. I spoke to Brooklyn. So there are a few others. I can't recall all of them. Pomfret might be going with it.
And the other question in regards to that one is if there's data input errors, they'll do programming charges for that also.
Which page is that?
Page 4, services excluded, 1, 2, third bullet point, correction for clients' data input errors. If they're required to fix them, they'll charge.
I'm not sure what that refers to. So we'd have
If you program something wrong and you want to change it, then they're going to charge you to do that. That's what it sounds like.
I don't know, because we can go in and alter documents, so I'm not sure what this would be. We have to check on that.
And the only other thing I didn't like was that point does not warranty that the data maintained by the software would be recoverable. So they're not guaranteeing anything anyway.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that refers to either.
if they have catastrophic, which some sites do,
They do have something about that too.
yep, they do have some catastrophic, but we're losing only a small point of data. So in other words, if like tonight's backup didn't work, you can always go to the previous night's backup and start from there.
Yeah, so we lose a handful of permits from that particular day, but it's easily recreated. And like I said, they back up to 3 systems, their own and then 2 outside systems. So the likelihood of actually losing anything, the biggest, the most you would probably lose is if their system crashed before the night they back up. You lose what happened that day.
Which you would have that information anyway from the day, probably.
Yes, yeah, I mean, and we're going to keep any paper copies as a backup, so we just re-enter the information.
That's all the question.
All right, if you so choose, you could make a motion to approve, and if so, it would be to make modifications to what's listed for the permits on the back page.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve with modifications to the building permit, or to the permit fees as listed on this page 8 of this document. To name them individually.
That would probably help the public, I guess.
So this pertains to building permit, electrical permit, plumbing permit, mechanical permit, sign permit, zoning permit, certificate of occupancy is actually 0, inspection report is 0, special permit, wetlands permit, subdivision permit, and demolition permit, all in the amount of $10 in addition to the fees, charge fees.
Thank you. We have a motion
I'll second that.
and a second. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
All right, so that is... All right, item number 3, to discuss and act on appointment for assistant building official. We do have our current assistant building official is off and will not be back until hopefully soon, but we're looking somewhere in June. So in order to help and assist with Rick and the rest of the office, we are looking to discuss appointing Rob Kerr. As Rob is very familiar with the area and can help us, and he's willing to do so, we just need to make the motion to officially make him the assistant building inspector at this point.
Make a motion to appoint Rob Kerr as the assistant building inspector.
Second.
All All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, guys.
All right, and the last one is the discussion and act on approving the ARPA funds for purchase of highway equipment. Now, if you note, I gave you 2 pieces of paper. And we did talk about this previously. We talked about how we'd like to have an opportunity to do a purchase for a couple of things. We talked about that in budget a little bit, but this is more in detail now. We do have the authorization for the expenditures. You see it, the number there is an offset revenue loss, was the last one, is the amount of $601,252, which is why I gave you that final piece of paper, showing you a little bit of math. If we did move forward with this, what the actual total would be left. You'll see that the town of Plainfield has been looking for a purchase for the John Deere 310 SL. It's the four-wheel drive backhoe. The one that they had was over 25 plus years old, and we were looking for something to do a replacement. Actually, it was originally in a 5-year capital a few years ago, and they were looking to find something. I think the number in there was between 190 and 220. So that's a lot of money. What we were looking for was something that was local, could be serviced local, and our highway crew chief went out and looked and found something very, very local. So in front of you is the look at that. We can't find anything, by the way, anything else that even comes close to this anywhere near us. This company would also be able to service us. So that's why we did it this way. He was looking and looking, couldn't find anything. This is the one that he found. It's listed as $111,505. Let me explain what that really means. So it was actually $131,505. They did allow for the trade-in of the other vehicle, and the other vehicle is $20,000 for the trade-in. So at the end of the day, you see the number there would be, for the purchase of this would be $111,505.63, and that would leave us still with $489,746.37. So with your discussion, and if approved, we can go forward and purchase that immediately. This is the rare thing. Vehicles like trucks, can't find them. Vehicles like this, they are around. Far and few between, but they are. So any comments, questions? Just so we all understand, the servicing is done by the W.I. Clark Group right in our own iPark.
Oh,
Yep. So that makes it much easier. They can just take it up there and have it maintained, if need be.
I'll make a motion to approve $111,505.63 to come from the ARPA funds to pay for the John Deere backhoe.
Second the motion.
Thank you very much. Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
All right.
Aye. Move that forward. Thank you. It definitely helps for safety issues that we're having right now with around town, so thank you. There isn't anything really on other, well, I do have one thing. We were anticipating to have having discussion with the state of Connecticut, and we thought we had a date picked for our Vietnam veterans and Remembrance Day for them, and having a ceremony here at the town hall. We're going to try to do it outside. If it was weather related and bad, we're going to have to bring it in here. We're ready to send the letters out and to verify everything with the state of Connecticut. They said, no, that date's already been picked by somebody else. So back to the drawing board, and at this point, if we get approval, it'll be actually approved, and we'll do it for July 12th. So I'm just waiting for their word back tomorrow morning. We'll get the letters ready to go to put out. That'll be it. That's really all it going on right now. Unless there's anything else, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We're now adjourned, 7:26.